the way you hire. You were hiring a cracked full stack lead at smallest AI from Bangalore, 1 crore salary, salary base 6 lakhs, ESOPs 40 lakhs, joining immediate, and resume not needed. College degree doesn't matter, and you went viral for that. Did you find that person?
So we are sort of touching like between sort of 10 to 100 million minutes a month at this point. And like we started off in India. We were like a house in Bangalore at that time. And so I think one of our first like the first enterprise successes was Paytm. And then MakeMyTrip also was like really successful. And these are like sales I have learned personally. Like in the US also we have some big names. I can't like name them right now.
People see your success now, but not your failures. If you have some stories from your failures from IIT to working at, the startup that acquired by Byju's, and then your self-driving venture, and then finally here. So what failure stories you have?
So many failures. I mean, so many.
So hello everyone. Today we are with Sudharshan, building one of the biggest voice agent startup, which is ironically called Smallest AI. He is killing it with 1,000+ customers, around million voice talks every day almost, right? He's killing it in this space, and it's one of the fastest voice model ever he has created. Lot to learn, lot to talk about it. So hi Sudharshan, can you please introduce to someone who has never heard about you?
Hey, thanks so much for having me, Anur. So I'm Sudharshan, founder of Smallest AI. We build real-time voice models for powering voice agents in enterprises. So we build some of the world's fastest text-to-speech, speech-to-text, speech-to-speech models, and we help large enterprises automate customer support, sales, any sort of phone call where a human sits and does calls every single day and they don't want to do it, or AI automates it. And yeah, it's exciting, deep, a lot of deep research in this, and happy to be here.
So you started in the middle of your career, you were working at Bosch on level 3 self-driving, where a mistake can actually kill someone, and segueing into now voice models, what learnings from, self-driving AI have you brought in the world of voice models and agents?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So it's something I talk about every time. So when you build a self-driving vehicle, it's never about like building the model. It's a lot about building the data pipeline so the actual model can keep improving over time. And so you build a version of the model, you deploy it on the vehicle, you understand where it's failing, you collect more data, and that data goes into your training set. You train again, you deploy the next version, you test again. So the iteration cycle, this is called active learning. Andre Karpathy talks about it. Hundreds of millions of dollars are just spent on this cycle. This is something that occurs across multiple continents, and hundreds of people are involved in this process. But the pipeline is something we also use in building voice models. Like, if you have a voice agent, like how can that the speech-to-speech model get better with time? Where does it fail? Quickly understanding the failures and getting more data back, and then retraining the model is more important than actually building like one version of the model. And so we focus a lot on active learning.
So is active learning same as reinforcement learning?
No, I think reinforcement learning is like a training paradigm. Like you just do it during training. Active learning is also something you understand errors in inference, collect data, and then it could be a simple form of training that you do not using RL. That also consists of active learning. There's like a slight difference. Active reinforcement learning actively involves making mistakes while training to understand what the correct path is. But in like the larger paradigm of active learning, you can't make those mistakes during training by definition, because the real environment where these models are deployed are different. It's the real world. I hope that kind of makes some sense.
100%. There's a gray line, because like in self-driving cars, like for example, when Tesla had their own chip, you cannot send data to cloud. For example, you see a human being, you cannot send the data to cloud to inference if this is a bike or human being. You have to interpret immediately. It has to be fast on device. And that's the idea comes same in voice models, because it's one of the smallest voice model you build, ultra fast. So the idea is the inference should happen immediately, such as like on device, another device, or on your phone, so that there's no data privacy laws and regulations you have to go through. Plus, it is fast and inference happens immediately. You can interrupt, and a lot of things are similar.
Yeah, for sure. I think the whole latency optimization and like making sure this works like in a snap is very similar across self-driving and in speech. Here, for example, the text-to-speech model has to do inference in under 100 milliseconds. The end-to-end voice agent has to do inference in like 500 to 600 milliseconds. This is like really fast. And imagine, I mean, this has to happen at scale, like across like millions of conversations. It's like a very complex problem that has to be solved. Yeah.
This is fascinating. And I think, this is the trust important to build something in AI. For example, you brought the similar background, and with a similar background, implementing in your own startup and then fundraising, it's a completely different ball game and completely different ball game to get clients as well, which you have brought. It's one of the fastest 1,000 clients we have seen for a young startup. How old are you, by the way?
We are a little over a year.
Startup, yeah, 1 year. Little over a year.
Yeah.
And 1,000 clients.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a lot of goodwill. I think a lot of word of mouth. Obviously, like, I think the most important sort of metric we consider is like the actual number of conversations. So we are sort of touching like between sort of 10 to 100 million minutes a month at this point. And like so I think for us, it's just the market is really large. We have had the goodwill of, a lot of word of mouth from the first early adopters of our models. And like that has helped us get the adoption across enterprises and so on.
Which first customer deal you're proud of? Is it Paytm or is it MakeMyTrip? Who are those?
I think,
or like some US 4 big techs.
I think, I mean, obviously, like we started off in India. We were like a house in Bangalore at that time. And so, I think one of our first customer, like the first enterprise successes was Paytm. And then MakeMyTrip also was like really successful. And these are like sales I have led personally. Like, in the US also, we have some big names. I can't like name them right now, but like, hopefully very soon I will talk about them. But like these are Fortune 500s that we've kind of worked with personally. We have gone up against sort of all the big names in the world and then come up better in terms of accuracy, quality, latency, and we just are just happy to put our heads down and make that sale without even having raised that much capital. So
brilliant. Well, I know virality is not your product, but you've been going viral the way you hire. You were hiring a cracked full stack lead at Smallest AI from Bangalore, 1 crore salary, salary base 60 lakhs, ESOPs 40 lakhs, joining immediate, and resume not needed. College degree doesn't matter, and you went viral for that. Did you find that person?
Yeah, we did. I mean, we closed that role in like 2 weeks, honestly. But like, I still get resumes from that job post. So so the inbox I had added, that inbox is destroyed. I mean, I can't open it anymore. It has reached the Gmail max limits, and then I mean, it's just I get like my hundreds of thousands of emails in that inbox.
Really? So this new email you created, info@smallest AI.
Info@smallest AI is not usable anymore.
Really?
So I wrote an AI that actually goes to that email and scrapes like some of the better candidates so I could review them. But like, I mean, this did go viral. I think more than the salary, I think there were two things. One is like the resume was not needed, because that's actually how we hire. Like, I don't care about your resume. I want your projects to be the best in the world, right? And like, I want you to tell me how you did that. And then, we hire based on merit. We don't care which college you're from. And so that I think took off.
So tell me, step A to step Z, or like step 1 to step 10, all the steps you took to find this 1 CR person, what qualification that person had. And I want like person who was like, the next crack person watching this video to be that.
I think this person we hired was a ex-CTO of another startup. he obviously had great proof of work because he had already built his own product. So we look for extremely high agency. How can you take initiatives, think about bigger picture while doing actual execution? And we also look at actual skills, hard skills in terms of like, can you actually write code and understand system design at scale? And then finally, we look at strong proof of work. Have you actually done things that are impressive? And like these three things combined, we make the offer. Our process is quick. We close it in 10 days. And yeah, we had this guy in 2 weeks. So
Wow. Interesting. So I want to go deeper into it because like you even posted this that you were offering jobs to laid off Meta employees because Meta employees are pretty cracked as well.
Yeah.
What is the step 1 to step 10 of hiring laid off Meta employees?
I think here the only difference is these are researchers. So these are people who have actually done speech AI research. And so we are looking for deep understanding of data science. How can you train models, deep technical projects that they have done, maybe papers they have written that are amazing, and like new thoughts around how models can be built and issues with model thinking from first principles. I think this is the differences, but the high agency, the ability to show proof of work, the ability to show that you have the risk taking ability, those things remain similar even in this role. And yeah, Meta employees, obviously, I think I'm not sure what's up with Meta, but like good for us, I guess. Like we
You did hire ultimately?
we
are hiring?
we have hired someone. They were ultimately not of Meta. We have hired someone, but like we are still in some discussion, so we might end up hiring. Surprisingly, Meta hired a lot of them back, by the way.
Oh, wow.
So this is not public, but yeah.
Oh, interesting. So what things you measure during interview and how do you measure and before interview in this hiring process?
I strongly believe in sort of assessing people in the call. Like, so I don't generally give like take home assignments and things like that. I look at like ability to quickly think on the fly. I just, most of my interviews go into understanding the candidate's own projects and how deeply have they done those projects. Do they even understand what they have done? Have they tried out ambitious things? Why did they think about this thing? What was the first principles, logic behind it? Things like that. All of my interviews go into really, really technical detail about their projects. And that, if they are able to impress me with that, I think I move them on to my co-founders.
So you ask the intent in every, so you basically ask why for every step. And I'm going to ask you why and how you became this way, because you literally were a product manager engineer, like you were a cracked engineer, like a top engineer. Sometimes you were a product manager, sometimes cracked engineer. How do you get abilities to be a founder? Where does that, come from? Like people say that every IITian can be, one, but I don't believe that. But like, where does these agency, where does these abilities to lead and have a ground for yourself comes?
I think a lot of this has come from watching really good people execute and also looking at what does not work. And I think one of the things I did early on was just optimize for learning and not for salary or anything like that. So, I did 3-4 different things because I was trying to go breadth first and understand what suits me. So I tried finance. I didn't like it. I tried product management. I was like, fine, but I don't want to do it right now. I tried software engineering. Okay, but I want like a bigger purpose to why I'm writing code. I liked AI because I felt like it was means to like a bigger end. Like you could solve bigger problems in the world. So for me, like that diversity of experience help me work with various teams and see what works, what doesn't work. And now when I'm building a startup, I'm kind of bringing like the best of all worlds and removing all the bad things from my experience. So I could build like my own culture and this environment. I think that has been helpful.
But this is not normal. You were in top 1 percentile of CFA. Like you went into finance and went so deep enough to be the 1 percentile. And then didn't like it. You became one of the top software developer at Bosch, which is a far-fetched dream for so many people watching, and you didn't like it.
I think no. I think like I did. My take has always been to sort of get the best out of that experience and apply it to a better place. Like obviously, like we built like the level 3 stack there at Bosch, but I think what was not working for us is like it's a big company at the end of the day, and like my personal outcome is not tied to the company outcome, and so I don't have enough skin in the game, and so on. And like, not everyone moves with my speed. But to answer like why do I go so deep, I think whatever I pick up, I do to an extent that I can build conviction or not, right? Like, I don't want to do a half-ass job and then wonder, oh, maybe if I had done better, I would have done. Like, it's almost like an ego thing. Like, I've picked this up, so I'm going to give it my best. It might be a job I ultimately don't enjoy doing, but like, I will at least commit for a year and do my best during that time. So, I can experience what might be.
So, same with your masters. You joined masters in data science at UCSC, University of California, San Diego. You joined and left because you didn't like it. Why?
Yeah, so I think that was an exception. I think there, what happened was A, it was during COVID. B, when I was working at Bosch, like we had worked on cutting edge technology these are not things you read in academia. These are like actual production level things that are like you said, someone might die if it doesn't work, right? So going from that to a theoretical class where they're teaching like basics of CNNs, I felt like I've done much more than this. And so it felt suffocating at that point. So that plus COVID combined with the fact that another startup wanted me to join them and that was growing really fast, I was like, screw this, I'm not doing this. And so
I mean, you're a really big risk taker. Like, it's not easy, like without a backup plan to give up your masters, give up plan to be in the US and then still make it on O1 and like still come back. I mean, that level of confidence, where does it come from?
I think it's like having no choice, honestly. Like, if you look at like my background, like if I did not get into an IIT, I did not have money to go to like any other college. So I kind of like got into an IIT because I did not have a choice. Like, even like I did all these exploratory things because like I didn't like ever have like some mentor telling me like, hey, do this or do that. Like, so I had to explore and like find out for myself. So it kind of became like a personality thing of just like taking that risk and finding out things because I didn't have people telling me what to do. So I think that helped.
Fascinating. Now, let's go deeper into smallest AI. So, in the world of AI, like we believe bigger is better. Scaling laws all have been, tending to go towards that. So, how do you think in the world of small models, how can they beat big giants competing with you? Like, we have 11 Labs, Cartesia. Of course, they're not entering agent space as fast as you, but why someone with infinite money with bigger and better notion cannot beat you?
Yeah, I think it's actually the opposite question, that why is like money going to help you beat a small model? And if you look at NVIDIA wrote this recent paper about small models are the future. We are increasingly seeing that the scaling laws are not holding up. Like, it's not like you build like a 10 times bigger model and it's 10 times more intelligent. It's not happening anymore. What people are realizing is specialized models are more efficient. They are better quickly. They learn quicker and they perform with higher accuracies. For example, speech to text. There are generic transformer based speech to text models that can perform multiple tasks. And then there are very specific models that are trained only to do speech to text that outperform these generic models, right? And so I think the advantage of capital has reduced. If I have to sort of put the answer in context of only speech. And even like broadly speaking, by the way, like smallest AI was never started as a voice AI company. We were at that time thinking of alternative architectures to LLMs and how we could build small models that are also intelligent. And the idea was like, the way humans operate is like your brain doesn't increase in size as you get more information, right? Like, you kind of hold in all most important and most relevant information in memory and everything else kind of fades away. And so the idea is like your compute will be constant with most relevant information there, and like memory can scale up infinitely. So small compute constant models, infinite memory context. Like, that's how we were thinking about building like an alternative architecture, and that's like a longer conversation. But like, I still think LLMs are not having all the answers. Humans have certain behaviors and intelligence that LLMs cannot do. And yeah, we'll see what the future holds there.
Of course, I mean, humans can learn. Like, for example, let's say you hire a new employee. That employee can learn in 6 months, improve way faster, better than any LLM, because LLM's context window is not trillions what humans has. It can constantly evolve. and learn how to work. But I think that's something lacking in LLMs. And I believe that, like I've talked about it many times, that AGI will not come when one model becomes really, really smart. It will come with the same answer. Like when memory is like infinitely large and evolves with the intelligence slowly growing up, these systems around the corner will take us towards that.
Yeah. And like simple things, right? Like learning during inference. Like you learned something during our conversation right now. I learned something about you. An LLM wouldn't. An LLM would store this in context and like forget about it. And like you'll have to train the LLM to learn. So there's no in context learning. There is no. So these like a lot of behaviors that are very inherent to humans, LLMs lack. And I think, a lot more work to do there. Yeah.
Like in the world where a lot of 20-year-old are building YC and like, big startups in the world of agentic AI, what stands you out? Because like half of the AI I see doesn't even work. And you reaching like the feet of 1,000+ customers is the biggest thing we have seen. So what works out for you that doesn't work out for a 20-year-old building startup, and it doesn't even work? What do you see so many times?
I think like, and I've also learned this over the last a year or so, but like distribution, go to market, understanding of like the customer's current state is much more important than the actual technology that you are building at this point of time. Like a customer you're selling to an enterprise, they don't even have cloud, you're trying to sell AI. Like first they need like a solution to how are they even going to deploy your services? Where is their data stored? How is this going to get connected? Do they have the telephony stack? Do they have the CRM with integrations? I think a lot of times the issue that people have is they underestimate the amount of effort marrying your product with like an enterprise stack is going to take. And like what we specialize is we have like deep enterprise context. We have like our investors and some of our advisors have already built and sold companies in the contact center space for billions of dollars. And so we work backwards from the customer as to how the product should be built. And like our sales process also looks very discovery led. Like we are understanding more about the customer during the sales process than actually pitching what we have. And I think that is something as a young founder, most people lack. I feel like underestimating the go-to-market motion, basically.
Fascinating, because like right now, I thought in the world of AI, like, the best technology should win. And you always promote your best technology. You're the fastest 100 millisecond and all that. So you've always started from backwards. It's a bottom up approach rather than top down.
Yeah.
So like it's not the top product when it's built, it reaches to customer. No, it starts from the customer's ground up. And in this, in this product, for example, you're collecting a lot of data, like, a lot of voice agent data. Do you use that data for training, or do you use that for fine tuning? Because data is the mode. If in this gold rush, gold is what we are, creating. You've created the gold. Do you take that shove? Do you use that data, the shove of customers, to fine tune your data? And is that okay?
Yeah. So I think so generally, if a customer opts in to share it, then we might. But in most cases, we don't. The other example is when we might fine tune a model for the customer. So imagine like you have a agent, but that agent is not behaving in a certain way when asked about, let's say, an insurance refund or a particular use case, right? And so you get like a lot of insurance refund scenarios, and like you train that model with that context, right? And so that is like a specific adapter that gets added to the model that basically only runs for that customer and improves accuracy for that customer's use case. We don't use that data. It will be destroyed when the customer, if the customer decides to end a contract with us. As long as the contract is there, we will have that special fine-tuned layer for that customer.
So you fine-tune the data for them if the customer opts for it. So for example, let's say I'm booking a flight and then MakeMyTrip answers my call, their AI answers my call. So if they know that how my refund flow looks like, you can, because for MakeMyTrip customers, refund flow could be unique to them, and you can fine tune and give better results. That's the idea.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, generally, it will be like, imagine like there was a question the AI was not able to answer correctly. So it transfers the call to a human being and the human answers it. But that escalation gets marked in the system that why was the AI not able to answer it? And the human will fill, this is how it should have answered. That goes back into the system it trains. So it's not even like completely manual. It's like mostly semi-automated or completely automated process.
Fascinating. 11 Labs ka teacher OpenAI, they all claim to outperform you one day. What unfair advantage you have that the billion-dollar companies don't?
I think generally, if you look at like the free market, right, like capital is only going to allow you more access to like resources, but like a lot of innovation happens from first principles. And so excess capital does not lead to innovation. And like for us also, one of the things we completely focus on is finding our niche and verticalizing in that, right? And so I think the way this is going to develop is like there are going to be players that come up that are really, really good in one vertical. Like imagine like they are the best financial voice agent ever. So if you have to ever hire someone as a bank to sit on a phone call, it's hire means AI hire. So you would hire from smallest, for example. So I think it's going to look like deep verticalization and in, like playing more on the model layer, I think is becoming less of an advantage as we sort of scale.
Wow. Fascinating. Now, I want to go deeper into raising, then we'll later go into the depth of the product because like a lot of Indian founders want to come to the US, raise around. I have interviewed a lot of them. Some have raised in the first 1 week with a deep tech startup like Space, Catalyx. I interviewed them. Some startups like have great product, but they never get responsive. For example, I was reading South Park Commons. They receive like 80,000 emails in a week or a day. And like, how do you stand out in raising? Is it the email? Is it like having connections? Is it the product? Where do you have moat in like raising?
Yeah, I think generally when you're raising, people look at like 2-3 things. One is, why are you as founders amazing? Like what makes you exceptional? Like signs of a young, let's say Zuckerberg or Steve Jobs in people. That's what people look for. And so having done good work, I think generally Silicon Valley really appreciates either like people who have like specialized in one thing. And so are you great technically? Are you great go to market wise? Like what is that thing that's going to be an unfair advantage for you? Or are you like just a quick learner that you'll figure it out and you're just a hustler that you are going to get, graduate and get wherever you have to get, right? So that's one thing. Why are you amazing founders? Second is, you should be in a market that is big enough, and like that market should be moving at a fast speed today where you can actually sell things. If you're in the wrong market as a great founder, you don't get capital, right? So today most of the money is coming in AI. Even in AI, I think it's B2B AI. But like yeah, so generally being in that space right now helps, and it's a time and place thing. So later on, like 5 years later, maybe it's healthcare, who knows, right? And then finally it's about your actual idea and like the product that you have built. Sometimes if you are really, really good founders, like you might be second time founders, you might get capital even without having a product, just based on an idea. So it's about how badly do the investors want to work with you. And I think then there is also like an art to doing this and all of that, but like that's like we could have a TED talk on that, but broadly these are the 3 principles to work on.
And what about cold emailing? Like if you have this, like a lot of people, if they have it, they still don't get responses. Some people may not have all of them, they get more responses. So what is that cold email, or like what is the approach technique that stands out?
I think cold email does work, but you have to understand like everyone cold emails, or like a lot of people cold email. And so what will make your cold email stand out? So you have to put in some work in your product. Like, why are you amazing founders? Why is this product amazing? Why is this market amazing? Should come in like 3 crisp lines in that email that you write. And so if someone reads it, that catches their attention, right? So cold email does work, but you know what works even better? Generating FOMO. Like you should have so many people talking about you, maybe even using your product, or maybe thinking about using your product, but the investors don't know about you, have not spoken to you. And those are the times when investors will run behind you and like, I want to get introduced to this.
100%. I want to tell you, like, for example, a lot of my friends like mentioned this advice, like that instead of telling the investor you're raising, ask for advice if you're close to someone. Like,
Yeah.
and like they would be trying to compete to fund you then.
Yeah, 100%. I know founders who kept telling investors about, oh yeah, we closed this customer. No, we don't want to raise. Oh, we closed another customer. No, we don't want to raise. And then the investors kind of came to their house to like, can we please like invest in you? We are really excited. And like they finally ended up closing. So it's always a good thing to, go in directly. So
Brilliant. Now, can we get technically deeper into the product? How is smaller AI built? Yeah, I know you use open source models from China, from the US, Kimi-K2, Quen, etc. So, like to someone who understands a little bit of AI and also doesn't understand of AI in that terminology, if you can explain and what skill sets are needed to do something which you have done.
Yeah. So, I think there are like some maybe misconceptions we should like remove first. So first misconception is pre-training is expensive, right? Pre-training is not expensive, if you are, unless you're training like a generic LLM that is supposed to answer any question about anything, right? When you're training a speech-to-text model or a text-to-speech model, you can actually pre-train that model from scratch. It is not expensive to do it, at least comparatively. And so we pre-train our speech-to-text, text-to-speech. It's been over like 1.5 years in development. And so that's a completely proprietary stack that we have built at this point of time. The way to think about this is we optimize for, in the text-to-speech, we optimize for time to first byte. So which is like how quickly is the first piece of audio that the model generates can be pushed out, because when you're building a voice agent, you need to start listening quickly, but while the second or third piece of audio might still be generating, right? And here the optimization happens from the software level on the model architecture all the way to the hardware level. We are actually also moving off NVIDIA chips to like a new chip which provides better inference capabilities, because NVIDIA chips are not great at inference. NVIDIA chips were built for training. The actual, like, it is something, it's called memory constraint, because the actual time taken to get data from memory to CPU is more than the actual time to compute things. So most of the time in NVIDIA chip is spent waiting for things to come from memory than actually doing the work.
Because the memory chip is different. It comes from Korea. It's the high band memory chip.
Yeah.
So because it's not part of the chip. For example, Apple chip, everything is integrated.
Yes.
So that's why the inference chips from other companies are better.
Yeah. So we are like working with like joint compute and memory chips where the kernels for the GPU are in the same place where the memory. So you don't have to send this data back and forth, right? So optimization for time to first byte happens all the way up to the hardware level. So we pre-train speech to text, text to speech, and these are the optimizations we do. Now, in terms of small models, the focus is to build a more efficient LLM. So we call it a small language model, SLM, which is like 7 or 8 billion parameters in size. So we do transfer learning. We do get, let's say, pre-trained weights of a Quen or something else. But like then we do modality fusion. We use, because these models are not meant to take in audio.
What is modality fusion?
So modality fusion is, imagine like an LLM, it can only take in text and give out text. How can it also take in audio and give out audio? Now imagine a voice agent, you have to listen to the user, you have to get enterprise context which is in text at the same time. And then you have to answer back in voice, but at the same time, you have to do tool calling, which is calling an API. So it has to have input in text, input in voice, output in text, output in voice. We call it the Hydra model. And this is like inspired by the sort of self-driving vehicle model, which was also called the Hydra model because it had multiple heads, right? So a lot of work goes in how do we take these pre-trained weights of a small model, 7 billion, and do modality fusion and get it working for voice as well. And so there we combine our weights from the pre-trained speech to text, text to speech, use the pre-trained weights from the LLM, and then jointly train them together on multiple tasks to make it work. I hope that makes some sense.
100%. It's a lot of like first principles, understanding the basics, having knowledge of not just the algorithm side, but the compute side as well.
Yeah.
And the data side too.
90% of work is actually data. I would not even like kid. Like, I mean, you could keep models keep coming up. It's actually not that difficult to make quick changes in the model and try things. What takes time is actually preparing great data sets, making sure the labels are correct, making sure there are no mistakes in that label, it's diverse enough, and then you put it for training quickly, right?
So, hot take here. Do you think the big tech is overspending on compute and underspending on data?
No, I think they're spending on data. I mean, the reason Scale AI existed, or like the reason I think one of the competitors,
Mercor AI now.
Mercor, these guys are all pumping data in. So they are,
Surge AI,
yeah. I mean, they're definitely overspending on compute, but like they are not underspending on data.
So fine, good label data is important. Now, here comes the hard question. In 5 years, do you see yourself as one of the biggest B2B like Salesforce or SAP or bigger than that, or be acquired by the big tech? Or option C, be acquired. The company is sold, but the talent remains.
No, I think I don't think about exits at all. Like I think about what's better for smallest, and honestly, like exits are something that keep coming. You always have exit opportunities in this space because you're building like a really cool product, right? And a lot of companies want this. And so for me, I think it's about I just love doing my work. As you know, I've done finance, I've done some work. I'm not really inspired or motivated by money that much. And so I'm not like, I don't know what I'll do if I sort of don't do this. And so it's more about like building like something big and also just having fun while doing it. So that's pretty much it. Like we don't worry too much about anything else.
Wonderful. Two important questions here. So you said data is 90% of the work. So what is your data strategy?
Yeah, so I think let's take audio, for example. So audio, let's take single speaker, single language to keep it very simple, right? Now, in this, the way audio is labeled is you have a file, you have to add text in that file, and you have to mention like at what timestamps those text things occur, right? Simple. But like, how do you understand whether there is a laugh in the audio? How are you going to annotate it? Are you going to put like a laugh token? Are you going to, but then is it like a giggle? Is it a loud laugh? Is it a short laugh? What is, like some weird noises? Like, how are you going to label that? Right? So labeling audio is difficult and not like a universally, there is no universally accepted format for labeling audio just because of how like there's a 1:m mapping in how your text and audio are mapped together. Like your audio has a lot more information than text has. And so there are multiple right ways to do this. You could also describe the audio. You could say, start slow and keep getting louder as you speak, for example, right? That could be a way you label it. You could put properties of the speaker saying this is an Indian Caucasian young male, right? How do you now make sure that 100 labelers who are labeling this data are all labeling the guy correctly, that this is an Indian Caucasian young male, and not mistaking it for like a Mexican or someone else, right? Like it's like maintaining consistency, coming up with the right format itself is a big challenge. And once, even if you decide the format, after that at scale, making sure this is done correctly is another challenge. So building the labeling guide is a big thing. Then you actually annotating is a bigger thing, and making consistently, consistent annotations is another thing. Checking for mistakes in labels and correcting those is another step. And then now imagine doing this for multiple languages, multiple speakers, multiple accents. You have to find people who understand those languages and accents and can do this, right? So it's a mammoth effort to just get this data.
So you label your own data, or you also hire like
you do hire, you do end up hiring. And I think the key is like some of these companies have very new to audio or have not done audio. Like Scale AI up till recently was not doing that much audio. And so we do have to end up going to other companies that have slightly specialized in audio, but then we tell them the kind of data we need and we give them the labeling guide. We work on the labeling guide. We work on double checking the the correctness of the label, but they do the actual annotation, sourcing, all of those things basically.
Very nice. And now in San Francisco, what excites you? What trends are you following?
I'm running the Berkeley Half Marathon.
Oh, wow.
I generally like how tech dense the city is. Like you keep ending up meeting founders. The other day we were walking here. There were like 5 IC founders who kind of bumped into each other. Like so it's a very small circle, and I also enjoy how like it's kind of more flat here. Like you might end up meeting a billionaire who ends up having coffee with you. Like it's not like a big, hey, we are here and you are here kind of a society. It's like more meritocratic, and like the kind of problems people are solving are very, very ambitious and world changing. Like I think that's generally exciting to me.
Yeah, meritocracy drives it every day. I see it. And last final question. People see your success now, but not your failures. If you have some stories from your failures from IIT to working at, the startup that acquired by Byju's, and then your self-driving venture, and then finally here. So what failure stories?
So many failures. I mean, so many, right? Like, I think I don't even know where to start, but like, I mean, if you look at my IIT, like first, like let's start like chronologically, right? So getting into an IIT, I think JEE mains, I was under based on my JEE mains rank, like the people who got marks similar to me all got into IIT Bombay, and like either electrical or like top 200 basically ranks, right? But my rank in JEE Advanced came like 2000 or something because I decided I was like too tired studying up till JEE mains, and I got like really happy after doing JEE mains. So I was like, I'm going to go play soccer. I don't want to study anymore. And so instead of like doing that last mile of practice, I kind of got distracted. Mistake. Fine, right? Doesn't matter. But like even in college, I felt like I was, again, like this is all in retrospect, okay? Like, would I actually regret it? No, I had fun, right? I played soccer. It was fun.
Oh, hindsight is 2020. Like back decisions, like decisions in the past, like you can't do anything about it. And you can say you'll be better off than you are here now.
This is like 2014, 2015. So it's like a long time, right? And then in college, I think I could have been spending more time doing actual deep, like if I know everything I know about how research is done today, and if I had the time I had in college, I mean, the way I would be approaching things would be completely different. But I was doing anchoring, I was playing basketball, I was like chilling and going on trips. Like, obviously this is all fun, right? But like, if you look at like actual academic or research focus, I think I could have spent a lot more time sort of understanding things deeper in college, which I kind of didn't. And then even when I sort of joined Toppr, right? I think we were at this point where we could have survived like as a company, and like we could have grown and become something bigger. But just because of like Byju's being overfunded and us sort of deciding to take that plunge, I think I wouldn't say that's like my mistake. Obviously, it's like an organization, but like as a company, we kind of ended up selling, and we could have become much, much bigger than the outcome we got, right?
Yeah, Toppr is a big achievement. He like labeled all the CBSE, SC1, all the data. Yeah. And now after Toppr, like
after Toppr, I think in Bosch as well, like it's more of a, you never completely fail. Okay. I think it's always about like partial things, right? So yes, we did deliver level 3 systems, but like, Tesla did it faster, and like we could have also been faster, but I think there were some mistakes we did in the way the org was built, and like some mistakes that were not technical at all, but like more to do with how a big team works that we could have fixed in the beginning. So
another way to take is if your work with self-driving was way too successful, you wouldn't be here.
Of course. Yeah. Of course.
Awesome.
I mean, anywhere, right? Any of the past experiences. I mean, in Vakil Search, we were building legal AI. We built a great legal AI product, but like just going after the wrong market. Like the market was too small that we were going after. So things like that, I think, helps you learn. So
thank you so much, Sudharshan. Very nice talking to you. I hope this podcast excites, inspires a lot of upcoming founders coming to the Bay Area. Thank you so much.
of course, thank you.